This is the Limitless Leadership Lounge, where Coach and Jon learn along with you from some of the world's most decorated leaders. Recently promoted, let's sharpen the saw together.
So you're a leader now. Why should other people follow you? That's what we're talking about today on the Limitless Leadership Lounge. I'm Jon Goehring, joined as always by Coach Jim Johnson. And Coach brought up and he came up with this formula that I think is really powerful. We're going to go through these 8 C's to determine if you are a leader who deserves to be followed. Because it's such an important question to answer. Think about some of the best and some of the worst leaders that you've ever worked for. The best ones deserve followers. The worst ones don't display these 8 C's, and that's why you still talk about them as the worst boss that you ever had or the worst coach that you ever had. So let's dive right into these, Coach, shall we? Let's get into the 8 C's. We're going to start with number 1, and this is something that coaches talks about a lot, and I couldn't agree more, and that is character. The question is whether or not you're a person of high character in your direct leadership role and even outside of that. Coach always talks about you're always on stage, right? That's something that a lot of our guests here at the Limitless Leadership Lounge talk about too. You're always on stage no matter what you're doing. If you're a coach, yes, you're on stage when you're on the field, but you're also on stage off the field. Think about yourself as a leader. Maybe you just got promoted to a higher position. You're on stage in the boardroom, in the meeting room, on the Zoom call, but you're also on stage in the grocery store because you never know who you're going to pass by who is part of your team or is a family member of one of your team members. And if you're acting like a jerk, then that reflects poorly on you. So are you the same person on and out, off of the court, or in and out of the office? You have to be a person of high character. And then care, that's the second C. So we have character and care. Care, you can't fake caring about someone. People can see right through you if you're pretending to care about them, but you're really looking to just use them to get ahead. You really can't fake it. So you have to genuinely care. Now, not everybody on your team has to be your best friend. This isn't about being best friends with everybody, but genuine care is so important as a leader. And maybe if you're leading a team at work, you care by asking them not only about their professional duties, but about their personal life. Maybe you show that you care by sending a birthday card to their children or to their spouse. You really have to care about people because as the old phrase goes, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So the first 2 C's are character and care. Coach, let's go through the next 2 C's.
Well said, Jon. And so my next C is competence. And as a leader, you have to show competence. And so one of the things that I studied in being a leader of a basketball program is the game of basketball. And I also had to study leadership. And so one of the things I really encourage people to do is whatever you want to be great in, make it a study. And the second piece of that is I really encourage people to have a personal growth plan where you're intentionally each day feeding your mind, whether it's reading good books, listening to great podcasts like the Limitless Leadership Lounge and others, and just in and learning from other people. So I think it's really hugely important if you're going to be a competent as a leader, you got to have the skill set. And to develop the skill set, you should have personal, intentional growth plan that you're doing on a daily basis. The second C is curiosity. And Jon mentioned a little bit, and I'm going to reinforce, is that I kid leaders that you should be the CQA. What do I mean by that? The chief question asker. Because when you're curious and you find that you are looking for the best answer to help your team. But here's the key, leaders. To be a leader that people want to follow, it doesn't have to be your answer. It could be some team member giving a great answer that you can use to move the team forward in a positive direction. So every day you should be asking questions, both about the job and as well, Jon mentioned the personal life. Get to know your people, which you show that you care, which is one of our other C's that Jon mentioned. But it really spurs, as I believe the best leaders are curious. They're always trying to learn and get better, going back to our intentional growth plan. So those are our next 2 is competence, Do you have the ability to lead and the curiosity, the chief question asker? John, how about the next two?
So we roll on here with the 8 C's. The fifth C is clarity. And this is huge for any leader, whether you're in a position of leadership at your workplace, maybe even just at home with your family, or even if you're a thought leader online, you're leading through the content that you post, which is something that I am very passionate about helping people do through my brand story, Trust Media. How clear are you? Because you could be a very talented leader, a very well-spoken, charismatic leader. But if you're not clear in your communication, now your team is going to be confused, or even your audience online on social media. When they're seeing your content, they're going to be like, wait, he's the guy who's known for that, but he's talking about this, or she's the lady who, yeah, I thought she was all about this, but now she's moved into a different role. Don't get me wrong, it's okay to change roles, but remember, when you're looking to become a thought leader, you're looking to be known for one specific thing. So people know me for podcasting and voiceover and all things audio content creation. People know other thought leaders for other things. LeBron James is known for basketball, right? So that's so important when you're trying to be a thought leader. And then when you're trying to be a leader in your team, are you known for the right things? Are you being clear about your expectations? It's so important to establish clarity and lead by example by being clear with your team. So that is such an important C. And then also confidence. Now, there's a fine line here between arrogance and confidence. We're not talking about cockiness. We're not talking about being rude or losing any sort of respect that you have with your team. But confidence is having that vision, right? Is being able to drive forward, knowing where you're going, knowing the direction that you're headed in as a team, and being confident in leading that team. So, again, whether you're just leading your family, whether you're a parent, leading your children on a daily basis, having confidence that what you're telling them is the best way for them to grow up, having confidence that it's important for them to go to school each morning, not just, I think maybe it's a good idea that you go to school. Confidence is so important as a leader. So again, just to run down our first 6 C's so far, we have character, care, competence, curiosity, clarity, and confidence. And believe it or not, there's actually two more very important C's. So Coach, let's talk about the last two.
Actually, yeah, I want to say one thing because John, you said some great things. And one of the things I kid leaders is clarity and communication is kindness. So being
Hmm.
clear. And John, you said great things about communication and importance. So the next one is challenge. Because I believe the most effective leaders challenge their team to be the best they can be. So this starts you as the leader. I always kid people, you got to lead yourself first. So you got to challenge yourself to be the best you can be. Then you can challenge your team members to be the best they can be. And what we mean by challenge is setting high standards. And with those high standards, praising and recognizing when people are meeting those high standards, but also willing to correct people when they are not meeting those high standards. So you can't allow your standards to slip. You got to be willing to challenge them. And one of the things like we challenge our players because we wanted to have an elite basketball program is we practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. Not all people like to do that, but that was a challenge. That was something that made us a little bit unique. And that's something you got to be thinking about as a leader is to challenge your players and your team members to be the best they can be. And the last one to close is consistency. And there was an intention on character because I think that's where it all starts. But I think the other bookend of the C's is consistency. And that is the ability that they know day in and day out as a leader that you are consistent. And what we mean by consistent, you're consistent with your positive habits, you're consistent with your feedback, you're consistent with how you handle adversity and how you deal with people on a daily basis. Now, we're all human. We're going to make mistakes. But one of the parts of being consistent in that is that you're willing to admit when you make a mistake and be vulnerable and share that part when you do that. Because people will respond to leaders and want to follow people that they know are consistent and it goes back to that caring, that they know that they care about them and they're consistent with their attitudes, their effort, and their habits.
It's one thing that I feel like is counterintuitive with a lot of leaders, but it's good to be predictable as a leader.
Yes.
And so those, I like how it starts with character and it ends with consistency. And throughout the rest of the 8 C's, those are also intertwined because you want to do everything with high character and you want to do everything consistently as a leader.
Absolutely. My final thought is that I think you got to keep asking that question that John brought up at the beginning is, are you a leader that is worth following? So I highly suggest that you use these 8 C's. And if John and I can help you with that, reach out to us because we're to support you because we are here to help young and emerging leaders be more effective so they can lead their teams to greatness.
And if you're enjoying the content that we bring you here on the Limitless Leadership Lounge, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we're putting out video content up there, full video episodes, and then also clips as well from those episodes to get a little bit of a shot, a little espresso shot of leadership advice from either us in our solos or some of the amazing guests that we have on. So again, just quickly running down the 8 C's, we have character, care, confidence, curiosity, clarity, confidence, challenge, and consistency. Those are the 8 C's of leadership. Thank you for checking out the Limitless Leadership Lounge this week. We hope this was a valuable episode for you. Remember, keep asking yourself, do you deserve to be a leader? Are you using those 8 C's every day in your leadership? And next week, we'll have another guest on for another great leadership conversation.